There's a very small chance that the final English stage of the suspended St Sigfrid's pilgrimage 2020 might still be walkable this year, Canterbury to Ramsgate. It would feel good to be celebrating together St Sigfrid of York and St Augustine of Canterbury, both great missionary evangelists, close to where Augustine began his mission in England. Today the Church of England's calendar commemorates Augustine. He was sent to Kent by Pope Gregory the Great in 597. Legend has it that Gregory became interested in converting the English, having encountered some Angles from the northern kingdom of Deira in a slave market in Rome. These Angles, light-skinned and blonde, were, said Gregory, not Angli but Angeli, angels, and he declared, "They shall flee from the wrath of God, Deira, Dei, get it, to the faith." Christianity had a considerable presence in Roman Britain and was still practised 150 years after the end of Roman control of the province of Britannia. But the King of Kent, Ethelbert, to whom Gregory sent Augustine, was a pagan, and how accommodating he would be towards a group of Christian missionaries was unclear. Bede tells us of the misgivings felt by Augustine and his companions. In obedience to the Pope they undertook this task, and had already gone a little way on their journey when they were paralysed with terror. They began to contemplate returning home rather than going to a barbarous, fierce, and unbelieving nation whose language they did not even understand. And Augustine went back to Gregory to beg humbly for permission to give up so dangerous, wearisome, and uncertain a journey. Permission Gregory was not about to grant. Instead, he sent Augustine back to his companions with a spine-stiffening letter, and the missionaries, having acquired some interpreters, arrived on what was then the island of Thanet. There they were made to wait some days, tense days, one suspects, while Ethelbert decided what to do about them. Eventually, it may have helped that his wife Bertha was a Christian, Ethelbert summoned them. The group came in procession, singing chants and praying, and preached the gospel to the king and his court. The king's reaction was benign. He recognized that the missionaries wanted to share things they held to be good and true, and though he himself was not prepared to accept immediately their new and doubtful words and promises, he was happy to make provision for them to stay in Canterbury and to allow them to preach their gospel, an exemplary welcoming of the stranger. The mission prospered. People were impressed by the missionaries' monastically grounded way of life, by their preaching and the miracles performed, and many were converted, including in due course the king himself. Augustine became Archbishop of Canterbury. Paulinus, one of Augustine's colleagues, made it to Deira, to York, of which he became the first bishop, and to those Angle angels, baptizing Edwin as the first Christian Angle king. One may well suppose that the examples of Paulinus and Augustine stiffened Sigfrid's resolve in the face of the scare stories his legend tells us were rife about the dangerous Swedes he was called to evangelize. To stiffen Augustine's resolve, Gregory told him it would have been better not to undertake a noble task than to turn back deliberately from what he had begun. If not exactly the evangelization of England or Sweden, the St Sigfrid's pilgrimage is still a noble task, and whatever happens to its last English stage this year, our resolve is to complete what remains of the journey in 2021, in gratitude that the good news of Christ has been brought to us.